the astrology of this week, Monday through Thursday, is definitely dominated by the Cancer new moon that occurs on the 24th on Tuesday. But there is a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more to this new moon. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and put this on our chart here. If you enjoy learning astrology and learning a little bit about the chart, my hope is that following along with the visual here might be helpful. And if you just like to hear the astrology report, my hope is that this video works for you too. That's sort of always my intention. Okay, so when the sun and the moon come together, we have a new moon. And that will happen this week. Oh, I'm checking my notes now, and it's actually the 25th. It's actually on Wednesday. But the planet that's really dominating the report right now is the sun, to tell you the truth, because the sun is just making some really dynamic aspects as a part of this new moon. So I'm going to get into all of it and just sort of talk about it as we go. So the new moon in Cancer, a new moon is a new start, an opportunity for a new beginning. It has that sort of plant the seeds of what you want to grow energy to it. And in Cancer, that has an emotional edge to it. But this year, it's extra special because Jupiter is here as well. The sun and the moon are conjunct Jupiter, and Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. This is Jupiter's favorite place to be, and Jupiter's the strongest here in Cancer. So this brings opportunities for growth, for expansion, for healing. It brings, more than anything, one of my favorite things so far that I'm starting to tap into about this Cancer, this Jupiter in Cancer, is the emotional security aspect that it carries, where we're all a bit more focused on that feeling of emotional security, of belonging, of feeling safe and comfortable and like we can be ourselves. Not that we can just say and do whatever we want and act recklessly without thinking about others. No, actually, that being ourselves in this way, this level of emotional security and safety and belonging, also sort of brings out the best in us. And so we're able to also provide a feeling of that emotional security for others because it's bringing out the best in us. So this is all sort of illuminated. That theme is a little bit illuminated at the time of the new moon because the luminaries are there. The sun and the moon are there shining a light on it. And also this week, the day that the Jupiter conjuncts the sun, or the sun conjuncts Jupiter, I should say, is known to be a very, very lucky day. This year, that is on the 24th. This is on Tuesday. But it's a little more complicated than that, as is often the case with astrology, right? It couldn't just be that simple. And that's why I called this taking the good with the bad, because I think there are a lot of different energies that people are working with right now. And that's got a lot to do with this square. So as much as I just said all this, and I have more to say, but I'm just sort of trying to give a bit of a big overview to get us started. As much as we have all of this beauty and emotional security and opportunity for a new start coming in from this sun in Cancer energy, conjunct the moon, conjunct Jupiter, there's also a square over to Saturn and Neptune in the early degrees of Aries. And the sun was square Neptune the sun is square Neptune today on Monday and was exactly square Saturn on Sunday. But all of these energies are active all week. This is all going on all week, and it's definitely a part of this new moon signature, which we're going to be carrying with us for the next 2 weeks acutely and the next 6 months more broadly. So there are so many different ways that this is showing up. But let me say a couple big things and then I'll kind of get a little bit more specific. I think, first of all, we just have a lot that's feeling new and different. We are in cardinal signs here with Cancer and with Aries, and we have outer planets doing things that they haven't done before in the mix, like Neptune. And even these transpersonal planets, Saturn and Jupiter, this is making it's making things feel brand new right now. But I think that also as we're moving into the future and feeling this emotional security, this desire for more belonging, um, there's also something sort of checking us and sort of holding us back, making sure that we don't rush forward too quickly and forget something that's really, really valuable. And also just making sure that we're not being too optimistic, making sure we're doing everything that we need to do. So in some ways, I see this as sort of helpful because sometimes being able to rush ahead too quickly can be detrimental, or even if it would just be a bit upsetting to our systems to kind of change too much too quickly. I feel like the Saturn and Neptune is kind of holding it back a little bit. But I spoke about this in my horoscopes for June. So if you're interested in seeing where it falls in your chart, check that out. But I also just want to go over a few of the main points that I covered in those reports here, since we're talking about this new moon today. So you should check those out, though, if you haven't seen them, to know where these are falling in your chart. If you have any planets also in the early degrees of Cancer or Aries, or really the early degrees of Libra or Capricorn, or almost any sign is going to be coming into alignment in some ways with these planets, then just know that those planets are extra activated by this configuration. So I do think that this is a new moon where we need to take the good with the bad a little bit. It's like we're moving into this new time. Things may be starting to feel really different around you. Your life might be different than it was a year ago. You might feel really different than you did a year ago. And certainly we are beginning to really be in the beginning of this new period. I feel like we've been in a transition part for so long in a way. And I do kind of feel like we're at the beginning of this new time, at least now. And so you may really be feeling that, and you may be feeling that there's sort of comfortable things about it and uncomfortable things about it. It is a time to take a good with the bad. I also think that this is a new moon that can be showing up really differently for different people. So, because we're beginning this new time, I think that if a course correction is needed, it could show up now, right? There's so many different energies available. So, for example, if you're on the wrong track with something, it could be taken from you, right? If an opportunity isn't really right for you and you're really meant to be somewhere else, this could be a time where a loss comes in some kind of a way because we're meant to be redirected or have that space open for something new to come in. And then I think places where we are on the right track, we might not feel that as much as at all. We could actually feel a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a like a quicker forward movement, a little bit of support to sort of help us move further down the road. But what these both of these things have in common is that we're moving into the new time. into the new era, right? And because there are so many different kinds of planets at play, so many different energies at work, it can show up in different ways depending on what you need. So I just want to go through a little bit of these notes that I had for this new moon. Um, it's an opportunity for a new beginning, as all new moons are. But this new moon is really one that's sort of rooted in some sort of emotional quest. It's a time where we're being asked to protect what matters, nurture our needs, nurture others' needs, reconnect with your sort of emotional core, with who you are on that emotional level. And I think that after Jupiter in Gemini and the Sun in Gemini and all that busy, cerebral Gemini energy, it's nice to get into the emotion of Cancer. It feels slower, it feels sort of mushy and um, warm and watery. And I think after the intellect of Gemini, that's sort of welcome. And then with Jupiter nearby, this is a new beginning, a new moon that has a lot of potential. But I think because we're talking about Cancer and because we're talking about Saturn, authenticity and sincerity are really valued and rewarded at this time. That's something that we could definitely move toward as much as possible. Cancer energy wants us to be genuine and sincere in ourselves. What's the point in receiving love and nurturing if it's not really coming to us, is the way Cancer feels. Cancer energy really wants to be emotionally raw and real. And this isn't a bad thing. This is a good thing. We might be having really big dreams right now, really big feelings, but also we might be able to see the limits. So that is a powerful energy, right? Being able to really have this great imagination for what we might want to bring in next, but also kind of understanding what's practical and what isn't at the same time might allow us to not only make our dreams real, but dream dreams that can be made real. There's that sort of tempering that's going to allow it to be made real. Pay attention to the Aries sector of your chart. I know that we're talking about a new moon in Cancer, but in a way, what's most significant about this new moon in Cancer is the Jupiter aspect. And Jupiter is in such a profound connection with Saturn and Neptune right now, as is the sun. This is really what's being illuminated. And this is where we have sort of the loudest energy right now, those early degrees of Aries. This is where something new is wanting to come in our lives. If you know the Aries part of your chart, what is changing there? It's a place where we want to feel like we're expanding, but also like we're safe at the same time. We want to really be building something here that feels brave, but also feels safe. And I think that this Cancer new moon period right now and for these next 2 weeks, that's extra true because Cancer really wants security. And then we have so much courage and vision coming in from that Saturn and Neptune. So this new moon, it's interesting. We're really stepping into this unknown territory. We're really planting seeds for the future and doing it in a way where we're wanting to grow something new, but we're also already in that place of safety and security. Trusting our intuition is really good at this time, letting ourselves dream without going too far. It's like the difference between like dream and fantasy. And I almost mean fantasy in a bad way, right? Like, how can you sort of dream and imagine without going into complete taking it too far to a place that isn't realistic. Um, there's also a weird balance here about nurturing ourselves and also nurturing others, not allowing the nurturing of others to be at our own detriment. I think that a lot of us are learning to temper those energies right now, too. And there are a few other things here in this chart that matter that I really want to talk about as well. They come up a little bit later in the week as we get closer to Thursday. The sun moves into, let's use a different color to make it a little bit easier to see. The sun moves into more of a direct sextile with Mars. I don't like how that Mars got circled at all. There's Mars. So the sun and Mars are sextile on Thursday. And I feel like this is helping us to see what we need to do a little bit more. It's illuminating what's needed to sort of move forward, and it's getting stuff done. This Mars in Virgo is getting stuff done, knows how to make actual progress, cross things off a list. So I think we sort of move from a watery, dreamy space at the beginning of the week, but it's still got that practicality to it, partially because of this influence of Saturn and Neptune. As the week goes on, we can begin to put some of that into action a little bit more and get stuff done as we come more and more into that exact sextile from Mars. But really, it's active all week. So I think that that's worth paying attention to. Something else that is also active all week is significant and should be mentioned here, which is a Mercury sextile. So we have Mercury, and I like this one a lot. Adding this in is super helpful. I know the chart gets chaotic sometimes. I hope it's not too confusing. So Mercury will be sextile Uranus. This is exact also on Thursday, but it's active all week. It's already active right now, and it can be good news. This can be good news. It can be surprising information, sudden information. So I love that influence on the week for sure. And it's just interesting as well with this Mercury at the end of Cancer getting ready to move into Leo. I think I'm going to save that for the weekend report. But we have Mercury about to do some work where we had the Mars retrograde. But I think I will save that for the report. I think that this is enough for today. We have some good news coming in. We have the opportunity to get a lot done. We are wanting to build our feelings of belonging, of security, of safety. We're tapping into our emotional lives this week in a different way. There's a lot of positive potential here, but there's also some difficult stuff. But that difficult stuff might be what's needed, even if it doesn't feel like it at the time, you know? It might just be a course correction to free up more space or what's right for the future in some kind of a way. And everything might just be feeling really new. So have a nice week. I'm attaching some other videos that are relevant to the current astrology here, but also check out your horoscope for your rising sign on my channel for June. If you enjoyed this video, you would enjoy that. Okay, and the July videos are going up too. Have a great week. Thank you.